All right, welcome everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are, maybe good evening. Thank you for attending our webinar today. I know there was a bit of a mix-up. There was a new link that was sent out, so we really appreciate it. This is our third and final webinar in this series, in the Healthy Relationship Secure Connection series. The first webinar went over healthy relationships, what they include, what unhealthy relationships look like. The second webinar was experiential learning. We went through a few experiences, we discussed them, and this webinar is going to be an interactive workshop led by our very own Kimiya Shahzadi. So a tiny bit about Kimiya. Kimiya Shahzadi obtained her Master of Science in Clinical Behavioral Psychology, focusing on relationships, and has founded Love Story Unicorns. She also currently serves as the FEZANA co-chair, so she's very involved. And as always, with all of our sessions, if you need to take a step back or you need to remove yourself, please feel free to do so. If you want to rename yourself, we encourage you to rename yourself. Your first name to be your favorite animal and your last name to be your favorite color if you'd like to say something and remain anonymous. But this is going to be interactive, so it'll only work if you interact with us. So we highly recommend you turn on your camera and unmute and speak however much you'd like to speak. And so with that, I'm going to hand it over to Kimiya.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. I'm going to try and just pack as much information in this session as I can. I'm going to apologize in advance for my voice. I've lost it and it hurts to speak, but I'm on so much cough medication to power through today. So I'm going to do my very best. And I think we learn best when it's interactive and fun. So I'm going to start off today's session with just some quick love quiz questions. And I'm going to give you some multiple choice answers. So have the chat open. If you feel brave enough to, select one of the multiple choice answers before I reveal it, I would encourage you. Because a lot of people can get these wrong and then they kind of have a wake-up call and be like, oh, wait, maybe there's a lot to this stuff that I don't know, and we don't get taught this stuff in school. So it's a little bit of a humbling experience sometimes, that some of you may or may not experience. So let's start with the very first question to kind of get us into the mindset. I'm going to paste it in the chat. And then I'm going to read it out loud. So what percentage of people break up in the first year? A, 40%, B, 50%, C, 60%, D, 70%. If anyone's brave enough to write their answers in the chat, let's see, 60, we got an A. Okay, we're gonna blitz through these, so you guys gotta be on the ball. D, okay. So the answer is actually D, 70%. So I'm gonna write that 70% with all the exclamation marks. It's really high. It's really high, guys. Okay, next question. What is the percentage of people that get a divorce on average in North America? And we've got the answers as 30%, 40%, 50%, 60%. What do we think? So these are the people that have gone through that first year potentially. They're up to the marriage stage. 50s, I'm seeing C. 60s. All right, so I would say in North America, it's about 50%. There are places like Spain where it's like 80%, which is like insane. I never thought I'd see that number, and I just see that number and I have so much work to do. So just imagine as a country, 80% of people giving terrible advice. It's really high. And we're conforming creatures. So there's a lot we can do to increase our odds, let's just say that. And then let's say the people that made it all the way to marriage, and you want to know how many people are still happily married. So this is of the people that have gotten married, how many people are still happily married and would say they're still in love? So we've got the options to be 40%, 50%, 60%, and 70%. What do we think? Let me just paste that one. Okay, 40%, 70%, 40, 40. Okay, well, a lot of you guys are correct. It is 40%. So, like, let's just recap what we've discovered so far. 70% of people break up in the first year. Of the people that make it all the way to marriage, we're down to 50%. And then of the people that are still married, only 40% of them are happily married and still in love. So we've got a lot to learn, and I hope that's a humbling realization for all of us, including me, that it definitely takes intentional effort. It doesn't just happen. Um, Definitely skills that we can use to increase our odds. Um, there's a couple more quick quizzes we'll go through together just to get our headspace um, thinking about the things that I'm going to bring up. I've got four short clips to show you to highlight the skills I really want you to take away. And I want to say this in advance. Ideally, I would love if you guys pick up these skills immediately by the end of the session, but it's just not realistic um, to expect that you'll learn it immediately just because I've said it once or shown you with a video. So don't expect that you'll understand the stuff and then be able to apply it. But at least I've planted a seed that you can at least hear again, maybe over and over again, and start practicing throughout your life. But yeah, at least you've heard it once, and then we can build from there. So, okay, next question. So, with relationships, um, who is more likely to find a high quality partner? Person A, who has assessed 5 people, or person B, who has assessed 50 people? What do we think? Person A or person B? Yes, I'm getting B's. I'm liking this. Okay. So I would say the answer is B. And what I mean by B, I don't mean like having 50 boyfriends or girlfriends. I mean like knowing what you want and being able to assess like potential people with things that matter to you to see if they have it or not. So that assessment is really important. Sometimes it's very frequent that, you'll talk to people of all different ages, and when you speak about their love life, maybe they've got like two, three people and then that's it. And they've like never assessed anyone else or considered anyone else. And I'm saying consider as many people as you can and try and assess so that you can hopefully find quality more easily. And the tangible example I like to give is if you pick up 5 rocks, the chance of you finding a diamond is like not as high as you picking up 50 rocks and trying to find a diamond. And obviously, the place that you pick up your rocks, the better it is, the more chance of a diamond you find. So there's all these things that can increase your chances. But like if we're randomly picking 5 rocks in our lives, like our chances of a diamond is not that high. Um, Next one. So who is more likely to find a high quality partner? Person A, who knows what they're looking for, or person B, who goes with the flow? Paste the wording in the chat. Happy to see some A's. Yes, yes, absolutely. And this is again backed up by science. The more specific you are in knowing what you want, um, your mind naturally filters your environment to show you the thing that you want more. And this is just a free built-in thing our brain does. So, like for example, if I really want a white Tesla, I start seeing white Teslas everywhere. It doesn't mean there's more white Teslas on the road. It just means that I know what I want. And now my brain is showing me the thing that I want more easily in my environment to increase my odds. So we can do that with once you know what a high quality partner looks like, your brain will naturally highlight them in your environment more and you'll detect them more easily. So we definitely want that working for us while we're naturally living our lives. And I know it's very easy to say, let's go with the flow and it is what it is and life will happen the way it'll happen and things like that. But you're really like, your odds are not heightened with that mentality. So if you're hearing people speak like that, just know it's not very intentional of increasing your odds when we know what the odds are. The odds are we need to be doing a lot of work to beat the odds and actually have that happy long-term marriage that we're looking for. So next one. Next one is, which relationship is more likely to last according to science? A, opposites attract. B, similar birds flock together. So A or B? B. Got one B, got two Bs, three Bs. Yes, yes. The answer is B. And so they've done, this is one of the most researched things that they have evidence-based for in psychology. Um, the more similar you are in as many ways as possible, the more likely you are to last. And they've checked like so many random things of similarity, even down to like physical appearance. And you're just like more likely to be together. And they're like, why is that? And a lot of people are like, oh, opposites attract, and there's like merit to that and all these things. And the reason that usually they give when they've done all this research is that when you're similar, you have less to argue about. And when you have less to argue about, you have more positive interactions and you have more fun together. And so it's a more healthy cycle moving forward. And you will not find your identical. That doesn't exist. Like you will not find someone who agrees with everything you say, who's exactly the same before you say it. That doesn't exist. So we know that you're going to have some differences no matter who you pick. No matter we find you the most similar person in the world, you'll have some differences. But the less the differences, the less the arguments, and especially on things that are important. So I know personally for me, like um, would argue with my mom all the time about like finding someone who's, not Zoroastrian, but like okay to convert or like all this stuff. And my mom would always be like, no. And then I took this evidence-based class in undergrad and it was like similarity. And I realized that because I'm so Zoroastrian in my identity, that it's such a core part of me that I feel like someone will not get me to the level I need to get someone to get me if they're not Zoroastrian. I'm sure like if I find a super growth oriented person that's willing to like, you know, it's great, but it's still not the same as someone who like knows this because it's so important to me. So that might not be the same for you, but whatever is important to you, having that similar, especially if it's like a daily life thing where it's how you live your life, those things are really important to have similar so you just argue less. Because it'll show up in so many different little ways. So it doesn't have to be the same as mine, but like reflect on what's really important to your identity and try and find that. Excuse me. But in general, similarity everywhere is important. Okay, next question. And this, I'm sorry, maybe may make some people a little uncomfortable to even read the question, but I'm going to say it because it's important and not enough people talk about it. So, what is the percentage of women, what percentage of women orgasm during intercourse? And this stuff is important for marriage, that's why we're talking about it. So 20%, 40%, 60%, 80%. 20%, 20%. 20%. Okay, very informed crowd. Yes, it is 1 in 5. So what does that mean? That means a lot of people are faking it. It's not represented correctly in movies. And, this is something to also bring up the topic of the differences between men and women. And, guys usually take, for you guys to know, on average, 4 to 6 minutes to finish, and girls take 10 to 40 minutes. So this is just good general knowledge to know in the back of your mind that yes, it does take women generally longer, and it's worth putting the time in to have a healthy relationship. And also on this topic, before we move on, I want to mention that it's good in a healthy relationship to figure out where your sexual boundaries are with every stage, like from physical contact of holding hands down to intercourse. Like you want to not have regrets with your life. And, if this person that you feel really close to, that you want to be, considering sexual stuff with, if they abandon you, at what point are you okay for your boundary that you won't have regrets if they leave you? So, and then that can also involve like accidentally having kids. Like I personally know people that have used condoms and contraception and got pregnant. So it's like if that happens to you and you're pregnant with someone, uh, like is that an outcome that you're okay with, or are you going to have regrets? Like you want to just make sure you know how you feel, um, of how far you're willing to go at different stages of commitment. So for myself, I had to figure out like what level of like sexual stuff I'm okay with at each stage of commitment. And I actually had very strong boundaries on this for different levels of commitment. Another thing is STIs are huge. And I'm gonna reveal it in the next question that we answer. But one in how many people have an STI? I'm gonna paste that in the chat. So this will hopefully inform you guys. 60, 1 in 60. Okay. What else do we think? 1 in 10, 1 in 100. Okay, this is actually 1 in 5. Okay, 1 in 10. Okay. So this is really good. I'm so glad we brought this up. It's 1 in 4, guys. 1 in 4. It's really high. And even something as simple as, no, I don't want to say simple, but like common as herpes can affect people not being able to have kids and have like be on medication and and they can be symptomless as well. So if you figured out your comfortability of, at what levels of commitment you're open to doing what, you also want to make sure you ask people, like, have you been tested? And maybe like get proof if it's before marriage or whatever it is. Because this is a big deal. Like, for some people, if you have sex or have things where STIs can transfer, maybe you will regret doing that if you haven't thought of that. And then with every future person you're with, you have to tell them, hey, I have an STI. And that's not comfortable to say either. And then give them the option to walk away. So just factor all of that in before you do things so that you are making decisions that feel right for you and that you've thought about it and you're not crossing your own sexual boundaries. So figure out what your sexual boundaries are. Okay, this one. So moving on from this topic completely, I feel like that was a good just little touch base there on that stuff. So this is really important, and we're gonna unpack this more when I'm teaching you guys skills. So for every one negative interaction, how many positive interactions do you need to balance that out in a healthy relationship? And this is a evidence-based psychology question. So for every one interaction, negative interaction, how many positives do we need? 5, 4, 5. Okay. Love it. Love it. So it is 1 in 5. So that's the one you want to remember. So for every one negative interaction, you want to have 5. Our brains are naturally geared to be negative, and that's okay. We just need to count. That's why the healthy ratio and being similar and actually working through problems really quickly is very, very important. So I'm going to go through that in more detail after we finish the love quiz, which we're almost over. So second last question. At which heart rate do you stop being able to resolve conflict? So 90, 100, 120, 150. Have a think. 120, 120. Now that we have smartwatches, some of us, like it's much easier to record our heart rate, which is very interesting. It's a feature that I really appreciate on the app. Okay, we're getting a lot of 120s and D 150. Okay. So it's actually a lot lower than what you think. It's 100, and if you're fit, it's 80. And so I want to, I'll just touch on this, but again, this is a super relevant skill I'm going to explain the second half of today's session. So they researched this in psychology, and you have you have a 90% chance of not resolving the conflict, no matter what it is, no matter if you're right or wrong, if your heart rate is above 100 or if you're fit 80. So like just think about your odds. It's not good. If you're seeing someone visibly like angry, or like you're visibly angry, hopefully you're showing it so the other person can know or you can know yourself. It's really unlikely you'll solve it. So you're not actually speeding up resolving it by like trying to like, I don't know, get it all out when you're in that state. You really do need to just be like, okay, look, I'm angry, or like my heart rate is high. I need to take a break and just walk away for 20 minutes. Don't be thinking about the issue for 20 minutes because you're still going to be riled up. Walk away, distract yourself, go play a game, go for a walk, go listen to a podcast, do something that's not related to the argument to just bring down your heart rate, and then already have an agreement that once in 20 minutes you'll come back. So we're not like leaving it for like a day or a week or like sweeping it under the rug. Absolutely not. That's not recommended. But we are giving ourselves a break just to physically get into a better mindset, to be able to tackle the problem. And just remember, again, this is not personal. This is regardless of if you're right or wrong or however you think you're communicating this in the ideal way, it doesn't matter. You're just not in a state to listen, or the other person is not in a state to listen. So really use this to your advantage for having healthy relationships with other people. Okay, last question before we move on to a new interactive part. Okay, so when something is a little annoying or frustrating, should you A, be patient and tolerant, no one is perfect, or B, be honest and tell them? What are we thinking? B, A, equal mix, B. Okay, so I recommend B, and I just can't stress that enough. And I try and phrase this in a very short saying where I say bottling is bad. So whenever I say bottling is bad, it's like no matter how small it is, you want to be honest and tell people. And people that are high quality and care about you will take your feedback and incorporate it to treat you better, and you will do the same in return. Um, this is this is very vital for not having explosive reactions, because when you are able to get these tiny little things out, then you're not building it up. But if you don't get these tiny little things out, you're going to have an outburst where it's like the typical psychology example in the textbook is like the husband will be like, pass the salt, and the wife just like throws a fit and is like, how dare you ask for the salt? And then it's like starts screaming and saying all this stuff, and it's like, this makes no sense. I just asked for salt, but it's like a lot of little things that have built up that have like resulted in this. And then you'll ask, like, why are you upset? And the person can't even verbalize how many little things have added up. And they're going to sound like so stupid little things that doesn't make sense to have this reaction now. But it's all valid and important. That's why, like, the more we can get into the habit of like releasing our tiny little steam and communicating honestly when little things upset us, the more our behavior will make sense to other people and other people can treat us better. So I just want to preface that. Okay, so congratulations. We've finished love quiz section of today's session. I appreciate you. Thank you for being so involved and answering your questions. You exceeded my expectations, so I appreciate that. Um, I think to tie it into the last two sessions that we've had in this series, I want to highlight the fact that we are social creatures. So this idea that like no man is an island, I want us to kind of realize that there's like, I don't know, a narrative in modern society that you need to be self-sufficient and like do your own thing and just not rely on anyone else. And that's kind of not how humans function. Like we need other people. And so we need to live in um, kind of like social villages with high quality people and learn that it's okay to rely on other people. And we actually need that. So trying to meet all of your own needs is not helpful to live your like full abundant life that is actually very aligned with Zoroastrianism to really unlock your full life. So we're going to really unpack what a high quality person looks like, so you can detect it and how you can detect low quality people in your life and either like kick them out or reduce their access to how much they have, you know, access to your life to affect you. So we want to increase as many high quality people, reduce as many low quality people. And so we need to know what a high quality person is in order to be able to do that. And in the last session, I was there and I was really pleased that love languages came up and the quiz was there and people just got a little taste of, you know, stuff relating to relationships and psychology, which was really good. But I'm here to kind of challenge you guys to realize more realistically how the world works. So, love languages are very helpful in simplifying the concept of how people receive and show love, but it's way more complicated than that. So, I'm here to say that's a good start, and I'm proud of you guys, but I'm going to bump it up to the next level. So, there's way more than five love languages and it's dependent on each context. Um, so for example, if someone like loves gifts, gifts will not fix every single problem you have with them, for example, even if they value it the most out of the five that you know. So you have to put in the work, and each person is a blank slate. So one of the things that high quality people have is they care about how you receive love and they're not stubborn and inflexible with saying, this is how I show love. Take it or leave it. It is what it is. And accommodate to me. They care about how you feel loved, and they're trying to learn more and more about you and apply that to how they treat you. So, and I'm going to give examples. I know this is quite arbitrary to understand at the moment, but I just want you to remember that flexibility to want to learn and show in their actions love in a way that you efficiently appreciate it is really important. So I'm going to give you some examples to kind of put this in context. So if we keep it simple to the more five love languages, like my number one is quality time. And my lowest one is acts of service. My husband's one, acts of service is number one. So this is where efficiency of love and miscommunication can cause a lot of problems and affect our healthy relationship ratio. So for example, I can bring my husband a glass of water and think nothing of it because if someone does that for me, it doesn't really mean much. But I can do that for him, or his pillow is about to fall and I notice it and I catch it in time. Or I'm like, oh, you seem busy, I'll do your dishes. All of these things for him are like monumental. It's like I just gave him the world and was like, and like really efficiently communicating that I love him. And he's like, wow, what a woman. And to me, I'm like, this stuff doesn't do much for me, but I'm happy to do it. And for him, if he does any of those things for me, it's not really efficiently communicating love to me. But quality time is my one. So like if you watch a movie that I want to watch and like talk during it and make it fun, like I would happily do your dishes for a week. Like that's how much it means to me. And it makes no sense to my husband. This is like so efficiently communicating love. He's like, I'm just watching a movie with you. Like, how does this mean so much to you? And so, like, just notice how many room for like getting closer to someone and further away from someone is just in the scenario I said. So, for example, if he washes my dishes, it almost means nothing. But he watches a movie with me, and I'm like, oh my God, you're the greatest husband ever. So miscommunication can happen all the time. And if, especially if he's like, I did the dishes and you didn't even appreciate it. And I'm like, yeah, I didn't really. Like, but it doesn't mean I don't love you. But like, you need to learn what makes me feel loved efficiently. And I need to learn what makes you feel loved efficiently. And the reason it's usually not as simple as the five love languages is because it's not always going to be dishes that's going to fix my problem, or it's not always going to be watching a movie. And, maybe a good amount of the time it is if you find like a really good reinforcer. But in different contexts, you need to start building your repertoire to know in this context with this person, this is what makes them feel most loved. So another example, and this one took, again, a while for me to even be able to admit to myself that this is important to me, and then let alone communicate it to someone else. So when someone does something that upsets me, even slightly, or just like it's annoying or it's mean or something, I really appreciate smack talk. And it's like, it's really important that I'm able to even admit that I need that and then communicate that effectively to someone else. And it's like very specific smack talk that I'm looking for that I didn't realize how hard it is to even communicate that, but it is. And it's okay. Like, that's my thing. It can also be your thing. And it can also not be your thing. Like, for example, it's very hard for my husband to do smack talk. It's like really like his smack talk is very weak and he's like working on it to get it better and get it specifically more to what I need. And then once I can, if I can communicate little things that bother me and I'm not bottling and someone smack talks correctly, I've got it out. I've processed it. I've let it go. And I feel good. And I feel closer to the person that smack talked with me. So I actually turned like that situation that could have affected me in a lot of negative ways to actually turning it into a positive very quickly, processing it, not bottling it, and feeling closer to someone else. So if we can do this small little thing, more and more, the happier we'll be and the better our relationships will be. And they're so hard to do, but it's really, really important. And the four examples I'm going to show you in a video from TV shows highlight these tiny little moments of when it's done well and when it's not done well. I'm going to show you two videos where it's done poorly, horribly, and two where it's done well. And you'll be surprised how fine the the little moments are when people get it right and when people don't get it right. And to psychologists, specifically behavioral psychologists, when we see relationships, it doesn't have to be romantic, but any two people interacting, we're pretty good at being able to detect who has a healthy relationship and who doesn't, because all of these fine, tiny little moments really matter and reveal a lot about a relationship and how people, how healthy it is with their positive and negative interactions. So I'm trying to build that skill in you guys as well, to be able to detect it and to be able to do it more yourselves. And to highlight, again, so I've run a lot of workshops across the world, and it was really interesting that when we went in a circle one time, two people had the exact opposite um, what they feel loved efficiency. So, for example, I think the question was, what is something that makes you feel really loved or not or not really loved? And the first person was like, I love when people plan surprises for me. Like, don't involve me at all and plan the surprise and just take me away. And like that is just, it cannot get better than that. Okay, and we're like, oh, cool, that's really interesting. And then the person literally straight after that was like, I hate it when people plan surprises for me because I have no control over what happens and they don't know me as well as I know myself. And if they just involved me in the process, I would be so happy. And then it'll be ideally exactly what I want. And, and then we'll have a great time. Now imagine the same person trying to, like, if you don't know this about your partner, you can go either so wrong or so right, just depending on the person. So that's why I'm saying every person is a blank slate. You really have to learn who you're dealing with. And this can turn into a massive argument because someone is like, I put like a month of time planning this for you, and you're like not happy and argue over that. Whereas, like, it doesn't matter that the person put a month of time in. They need, and it's a hard pill to swallow, but it is important that when someone feels safe enough to tell you that, hey, I actually don't like surprises, I want to be involved, that you can be humble enough to be like, this is really hard to hear, and I put a month of work into this, but how you feel is important. And I'll factor that in next time. Or like if you haven't finished planning, you involve them. And it really doesn't matter how you feel about it. It matters how they feel. You are learning how to efficiently show love to the other person and in with things that matter to you. Like if it really matters to you that they surprise you, then you can be like, I can learn this for you, but like when you're planning something for me, I don't want to be involved at all. I want you to surprise me. And it's their job to realize that you are different to them and show you love the way you appreciate it. So it's all about efficiently communicating love to reduce miscommunication. And it's really hard to wrap your head around that. And it commonly shows when you get other people gifts. Usually get other people gifts what you like. And then they may not have the same reaction, and then you get sad and you're like, they're so ungrateful. They don't even appreciate my gift. And it's like, no, it's just really hard to get to know someone else and to know exactly what they appreciate on their birthday or special occasions or just randomly. And you have to learn, and it hurts. And you have to keep going through this like firing process until you get it right. So it's not easy, but it's definitely worth it. Another way you can more easily figure out how someone efficiently feels loved is by just creating like something called special time. And I've read so many parenting books recently, but this absolutely applies to adults too. So, for example, with kids or with adults, and I can proudly say I do this with my husband 30 minutes a day. On alternate days, we get special time, and that person, well, like you can activate it anytime during the day, and I will do whatever you want to do during that time. And you really learn what the other person appreciates when they have 30 minutes, or you can do an hour and make it less frequent, or make it 15 minutes or 10 minutes or whatever it is. But it's just like you're giving the power to the other person to tell you how they feel most loved in that moment and doing that thing for them. And you're just shortcutting what means a lot to them and learning and building your model of that person of what really matters to them. And then you are also doing that. And honestly, it's hard because we don't spend that much time intentionally thinking about what makes us happy. Like if we have 30 minutes, like what do we do with that? Like maybe you know for the first three times what to do, but it's like really a skill of like, how do I feel most loved and being able to verbalize it, and then the other person doing the same and you doing it for them. So this is like a really good tool that you can add to your repertoire of more efficiently communicating love and receiving love, which doesn't come naturally to us. It's really a skill we have to practice over and over again. Um, yeah, can't stress that enough. Um, okay, so I'm gonna just end by talking about one more skill, and then we're gonna really show the videos and make sure that we at least can see it in an example and identify it ourselves. So the model for resolving conflict that has shown the most evidence for in psychology and that I've practically used in my own life and taught other people is the who got upset first rule. And it's who got upset first and verbalized it. It's very important. So if you're actually writing something down, this is very important. Who got upset first and verbalized it? So that means, again, we know bottling is bad. So let's say something annoys me. Uh, my husband put his socks on the floor. And that really annoys me. It actually is a real example. So let's say I see it and I'm like, oh, I have said this before. Do I say it again or do I just let it go or do I just move it or do I just like, I'm above this? And the right answer, obviously, is bottling is bad. I need to say it or it's just going to pile up for me. So I'm going to be like, hey babes, I noticed your socks are on the floor. I feel angry when I see it. Can you please like put it in the closet or in the laundry basket in the next 10 minutes? Now, I want you to really unpack what I did because I did a lot of things in that. So, and it sounds seamless, but there was like so many steps in there. So one, I didn't bottle. I communicated honestly. I spoke specifically about the thing that bothered me, the behavior, which was leaving the socks on the floor. I'm not character attacking him. I'm not saying you're so lazy. You never listen to what I say. How can you be so inconsiderate? Like none of that stuff came up. I'm specifically talking about the thing that bothered me, which involves a behavior. It's not a character attack of any sort. So immediately I'm reducing defensiveness by talking about the specific thing that upset me. So I feel angry when I see your socks on the floor in front of me right now. And then I asked him for what I needed to solve my problem, which was to put it away or put it in the laundry. And if you stop here, it's still not good enough, and I'll tell you why, because the time frame is so important. I need to communicate when I need this by, even if my husband has the best intent of listening to what I'm saying, he doesn't know that I'm expecting him to do it in the next 10 minutes or 1 minute or like 1 hour, whatever it is. He needs to know my expectations specifically regards to timing so he can make me happy and efficiently make me feel loved, that he's listening and he cares about how I feel. So that's really important. And then, so that in a nutshell is I got upset first. Now, most people, when they get any sort of feedback, they get defensive and they're like, well, you didn't do the dishes. Or like, well, like that's so mean. I'm in the middle of a game. Don't talk to me right now. Or like whatever it is. Like the like human default is to get defensive and actually ignore the really important thing that just happened, which is the other person got upset first. And I've noticed that women do this more than men, including myself, and it's been a hard journey for me to like recognize this, but it's my own system, so I need to obviously follow it. But it's like if Armand gets upset about something, and it upsets me that he's upset about that, I can't override his emotions and be like, well, I'm more upset than you are, or like my feelings are more important, comfort me first. If he gets upset first and verbalizes first, I have to first make sure that he feels loved before he starts comforting me. It's really bad if someone gets upset first and verbalizes it, and then they're comforting you after they got upset first. And this happens so commonly, and it's very toxic. And we don't realize we're doing it, but it's so common. So this is really important, and this ties into that high heart rate that I was telling you about. The reason that this system works really well with who got upset first is because one person is upset at a time. The first person communicated they're upset and they've told you how you can fix it. And most times I recommend whatever they want to solve it, give it to them. Like if they're saying, can you put your socks away in 10 minutes? Yes, I can do that. Just resolve it. It's not really worth it to argue about it. Let's say you're like, oh, I've got an assignment that's due in 10 minutes. Like, can I do it after that? You can suggest a compromise, but the key with suggesting a compromise is the person that's upset needs to be happy with the compromise. So you can't just make a compromise and be like, oh, well, I'll do it by tomorrow, and then I don't care how you feel otherwise. It has to have to be okay with whatever compromise you're suggesting and agree before you move on. And almost like saying no to someone with what they want after they're upset should be used very, very infrequently. In healthy relationships, usually you can do the thing and it's not too hard to do. And then once the first person who's upset and verbalized it, their stuff is resolved. If you're now triggered by something they said, then it's your turn. You can be like, okay, is your stuff good? Are you solid? Like, have we figured out your stuff? They say yes. You'll be like, great, okay, now I'm upset and I'm verbalizing it first. And this is my issue, and this is how it's going to solve it. And then they can jump in and do the same for you. But in this system, one person is upset at a time, and the other person can calm down enough to not be defensive enough to actually efficiently communicate love and show you love the way you need it. And it's very important that you on the receiving end can receive love and be able to verbalize what you want. A lot of people get stuck with, oh, I'm upset at the sock and now I don't know what I want. I'm just angry, you know? So it really takes a lot of skill for you to even figure out what you need to solve the problem for yourself. And this all comes with practice. So don't expect to be able to do this seamlessly. It's for sure you're going to get it wrong, but just really practice this who got upset first and verbalized it first system. And it's hard sometimes to detect who got upset first because you might get upset first and not verbalize it, but the other person verbalized it first, so they get rights and you don't because you didn't verbalize it. So you really have to practice the verbalizing part too. Okay, so I'm going to show you some screen recordings, and they're usually under 2 minutes. So I'll share my screen, share sound. Okay. So I'm going to start with this one. This is from White Lotus, season 1, episode 1, where we're learning about each of the like characters. And like when I see this, it's just so blatantly obvious to me that their relationship is bad. And I want you to detect as many things as possible as you can when you're watching this of like, hey, these were tiny moments that they missed that shows that the relationship is bad. And then we're going to unpack them and see how many of these you catch. So I'm going to try and make it full screen. And let's play.
What is it? What's wrong?
This is the wrong room.
What do you mean?
We're supposed to be in a honeymoon suite. This isn't the honeymoon suite. This...
Maybe it is. Why isn't it?
No, because I did a virtual tour on the website. This isn't it. This is just a regular suite.
What are you talking about? This is like the swankiest hotel room I've ever stayed in.
Yeah, you haven't traveled that much, so... Plus, we're paying for the honeymoon suite.
Technically, we're not paying for anything. Your parents are. I think it's fine, Shane. I mean, look, it's an amazing view, and we're near the restaurant, and it's convenient. We can stuff ourselves and go drown in the ocean.
We're supposed to have our own plunge pool and a private patio.
There's a balcony. There's another balcony.
I mean, they screwed us on the room.
Oh, Shane, I wouldn't go that far.
Well...
Just talk to the guy.
Yeah.
Is it a big deal? Really?
Yeah.
Yeah?
It's our once-in-a-lifetime honeymoon.
Yeah.
I just want it to be perfect for you.
Okay. I'm going to stop sharing. Is anyone brave enough to have any opinion on what we just watched before I unpack it? Or type anything that they feel?
Yeah, I'd like to mention they were both like slightly insulting each other. Like the guy was like, "Oh yeah, you've never traveled," in like this like condescending way. So
Yes, yes. But okay, in this situation, I'm going to ask you guys who got upset first? Who caught who got upset first? Does
I think the
anyone?
guy did.
The guy did. The guy did. Exactly. Exactly. So a lot of what happened was the guy got upset. And I want you guys to realize it doesn't matter what your partner or the person you care about gets upset about. You may completely not get it. It makes no sense to you. You're like, who cares if we don't have the right room? It doesn't even matter. You want to efficiently show love to your partner because they're your partner and they're upset about this. So, for example, in this situation, and a lot of you probably missed it, this room thing is so important to this guy. And I had to, obviously, this is the first episode, this is the first interaction you see of them. But if you watch the whole season, this room thing is like the biggest problem like throughout all of the season for this couple. And like it gets worse and worse. Their relationship gets worse and worse because she doesn't understand how big of a deal this is. And she's not doing the who got upset first rule. And it's just amplifying and amplifying, getting so much worse. And he doesn't feel heard. Like if you notice, every time she was like, oh, but it has two balconies or it has this, she's actually saying what you feel doesn't matter. Um, who cares if you didn't get the room you want? We didn't even pay for it. You're ridiculous for thinking that this matters and bringing that person down. And so we didn't do any of that in the examples that I gave when I said who got upset first. So if they were following the who got upset first rule, like they were actually kissing right before I played the video. So he actually looked around. He stopped kissing her. He looked around, and it was a big enough deal that he got upset that he noticed this was their wrong. This was not their honeymoon room that he was so excited about. And he was upset. And he's like, this isn't the room. And you can physically see he's upset. And he's like looking around and he's like unhappy. So he got upset first. He's verbalizing it. He's not directly verbalizing it. Obviously, he can do a better job and be like, I feel really upset that this room is wrong. This is important to me, for example. And then he's saying that he wants the correct room. So that's the solution. And for her, she's just putting him down so far in this example. And she does say like, hey, like maybe go talk to the manager. That was the one helpful thing that she said. And then at the end, she also said, is this important to you? Which he responded, yes. But then it kind of the scene ended. But this is really important because we can seemingly do this with the best intention and be like, I'll just make the best of it. Um, Everything's okay. This isn't a big deal, blah, blah, blah. Or, like Arish pointed out, like he can try and justify why he feels upset by saying, you haven't traveled much. And then now we're like attacking each other and we're getting so off track for what the issue is that we've lost context. So keep things simple, and really you need to not be thinking, does this thing upset me? It's not about you. The other person got upset first. It is what it is. Like this is the human you picked, and this is what's bothering them. Like it's just accept that. And then how do you give them what they want to feel better and not make them feel bad? So when I saw this, I'm like, oh my God, their relationship is doomed. And obviously, like it just got worse from there. I'm going to show you another example of a different couple, same show, White Lotus, season 1, episode 1 again. And this is the introduction of another couple that I want you guys to see. Okay, so this one is, let's make it big.
You tell me.
I haven't seen him in a while.
Nicole, they're fucking huge.
Huh. I wonder what's going on.
It's cancer. I have testicle cancer.
We don't know that yet. We have not gotten the results. Shouldn't we be getting those?
Tomorrow.
Well, wait. Isn't tomorrow now?
No, tomorrow.
No, I know, but tomorrow there is what here?
No, it's still tomorrow.
Okay, well, he said that it could be a lot of other things.
No, he said that it maybe
could be other things. And there's not a lot of other things it could be, right? I mean, it's not a family of mice that burrowed inside my ball sack. It's cancer. Or maybe even something worse.
Well, let's just wait and hear what he has to say. Let's not,
It's cancer.
Why are you so sure?
Nick, my dad died of cancer and he was only 46 years old.
It wasn't testicular cancer, was it?
I don't even know. You know what? I should call my Uncle Charlie and find out. It's so disturbing that's my balls. That they get big like this. It's very goggle.
Look, whatever it is, you're gonna be fine. People get cancer. They deal with it. It's not like it was when your dad had it. And you know what? They're making breakthroughs every day. It's like a non-stop parade of progress.
You know what? This is terrible timing. Coming here was nuts.
Look at your son. He's sitting in there alone. He looks like he's killing time in a waiting room before a root canal. Go get him. Go have some fun.
Nick. Quinn is the exact age I was when my dad died.
Well, then all the more reason to pay him a little attention now, while you're still with us.
Yeah, let me stop sharing. Okay, anyone have feelings about this one they wanted to share or unpack? Okay, I'll jump in. I know we're at the hour mark. There's still 2 examples I want to show you when people do it well. So this one, who got upset first? Does anyone want to take a guess who got upset first? Okay, it was the guy. It was the guy again. So the guy got upset first. He's clearly concerned about cancer. He references all of these things that like justifiably make him nervous. Like his dad had cancer at 45 and died. He didn't want to be on this trip. Like, so many different things that his feelings were not even considered by the wife. And at every point that he was trying to verbalize, hey, this is important to me, just show me love in a way I appreciate it, she kept shutting him down. And it's so easy to ignore these tiny moments, but there was so many of them where she's like, you'll be fine, it's not cancer. No, yeah, no, empathy is a good way to say it. Even though the stuff that she's saying is cancer is advanced and you'll be fine and all this stuff, but the wife is missing so many points of making her husband feel better, and she was like distracted, like putting her clothes away. He's like talking about dying and cancer, and she's just like, you'll be fine. And I'm like putting my clothes away and go take care of our son. And like this is like really, really unhealthy. And maybe you guys watch these 2 clips and you're like, oh, this isn't that bad. These seem like really normal interactions. But to someone who's like fine-tuned in what healthy relationships look like and attuning with these little moments and getting close to each other, these are disastrous. These are like horrible relationships. And if it's worse than this, then you got even more work to do. But like, I need you guys to notice how unhealthy these 2 examples are. And I'm going to show you 2 healthy examples of when someone gets upset and how the other person responds, so you can at least see a contrast. This one is the new TV show that came out called Étoile, and it's like a comedy about ballerinas and business and stuff like that. And so yeah, I'll
Hey,
just play it and then we'll unpack it.
hey, Kimiya, I have a question.
Yes.
So in the first person rule, it's the person that is listening's job to make the person that first got upset heard and loved and cared for. Totally get that. And at the same time, that same person has their own opinions and feelings. And my question is, when is it appropriate to respond with your own opinions? Even if you do it respectfully, it may not be the right time. And so, when is the right time to voice your own opinions about the subject if you're not the first person that raised it?
Perfect. Great question and hard to implement. But after you've resolved that issue, because then one person is upset at the time. So once the first person's issue is resolved, so like let's say with the cancer one, excuse me, he's concerned about cancer. She says the first line of, "Oh, it's not cancer, don't worry about it." And he's like, "I am worried about it. I feel sad. I really need you to comfort me and give me a hug in this moment. Like, we don't know what the results are, and I just really need a hug in this moment right now. Is that something you can do?" And I'm posing it as a question so they have a chance to say yes or no. So, yes, they'll do it, or a compromise version I'm happy with. And also they don't feel like you're being demanding because you're actually giving them a choice. If you say you have to hug me, then the other person will maybe feel like I don't have a choice in this. But yeah, and then let's say they hug you, then you start feeling better, and then let's say you have an opinion that you're just like burning to say. And then so
Yeah.
after the hug, you're like, are you feeling like more okay with it? Do you feel loved? They're like, yes, or maybe they say, no, I still need this other thing. And you can try and accommodate them until they feel well enough to say, I'm good. And their heart rate hopefully has dropped below 100 or 80 or whatever it is. And then you can be like, okay, I also want to verbalize now that I'm upset about this. And then now it's your turn to be upset first. And they have to now do the hard job of it doesn't matter if they disagree with your opinion. They have to hear it and again hear out what you want in order to feel closer to the other person. So it happens after the first person's okay.
Thank you.
Of course, of course. Okay, I'll share my screen again.
So,
I got fired.
what? Why?
Well, let's see. The dancers are openly revolting. My audience hated Tobias's piece. I gave Cheyenne away. I didn't compliment Claire on her very subtle haircut.
She sounds overly sensitive.
It's not fair.
No, it's not. You are great at your job.
I am great at my job. They're lucky to have me.
If they can't see that, they are idiots.
They are idiots. They don't notice the amazing things I've done. I mean, do they ever mention that I cut front of the house over time in half? Do they mention that I turned a profit in the last 3 years in the holiday season without the fucking nutcracker?
Okay, no need to get nasty.
People here still go to the opera, Jack. The opera. The cast sings the entire time, often in a language no one speaks, but the house is full. Okay, there was one incident with the bull. But there was also a goat that behaved perfectly. No one thanks me for the goat. It's just, you're fired.
And they definitely said the words "you're fired"?
No, of course not. That's not how government works. They never say you're fired. They say changes are coming. And the next thing you know, your swiper card won't work. She hates me. She's always hated me. Even before I cut me, she hated me.
She's a dick.
She made fun of my skirt once in the cafeteria.
Okay, now it's sounding a little high school.
Pointed and laughed. She snickered. Snickered.
Fuck her. Quit.
What?
Quit. We'll find something else for you.
Why on earth would I quit?
Because you're about to be fired.
Who says?
You did.
She never said you're fired. She said changes are coming.
Which you said is the same thing.
Well, it's not the same thing.
Okay, I'm beginning to think that really was a terrible skirt.
I'm just saying, maybe I can turn things around.
Okay.
They could fall in love with me all over again. I have unique charms.
Absolutely.
Okay. Let me just turn that off on my end. Okay. Anyone have any feelings before I quickly dive in?
Yes, I do.
Yeah.
It's after 49 years of marriage also. You feel like he was giving in to what you are saying and trying to, and she was on the other end. So it was very confusing. And the examples you gave to be honest, we have a very good relationship, we have everything, but some of these things still persist. His expectations and my expectations. And this was a very good learning lesson, you know, and this is after 49 years of marriage.
I
You
appreciate
brought it out, what I don't understand about him and what is so important to him. So thank you so much. I think everybody needs to watch this.
I appreciate you. That's very
Yeah,
kind of you. That
yeah.
means a lot. Yeah, so I know we're short on time, so I appreciate you. So in this situation, I want, like, this is probably missed by all of you, but the fact that he even answered the call in a moment that was so important to her is so valuable. If he had just not answered that call, she wouldn't have felt that close to him, that when she gets upset, that she can even rely on this person to answer the phone. So even from the get-go of him being in the middle of his work, and you don't know the context of this episode, but he has a lot going on, but he still answers her call and is there for her. And sometimes, girls or guys are like talking about whatever's bothering them, and he goes on tangents, and he's still following her. He's like, still like, you're right, and like, F these other people, and like, he's trying to follow, and he's still trying to make logical sense of what she's saying, but still like making her feel heard. And if you notice, like, her body reactions, her sorry, the word is escaping me, but like her human body reactions are very positive to feeling heard, in comparison to the first two videos that we watch, where they constantly feel like the other person is not understanding them. They have to justify why they feel how they feel. It's like this girl felt like he was following her, at least through this like journey of things that are upsetting her. And like, she's like saying she's fired and she's not fired, and he's like just trying to keep up. But he makes her feel safe through that. And that was a very, I would say, sophisticated thing, where they don't like directly say, hey, I am upset first. Let me tell you what I'm upset about, and I want you to listen, and I want you to figure out along the way how to make me feel loved. But they naturally do that without pointing it out. And they actually do it very well. And sometimes he makes some wrong conclusions, and she's like, no, not that. And he quickly adjusts. He's very quick at smoothly getting back on her train of making her feel heard on the phone and to feel calmed down. Um, and like in that scenario, he kind of understood that she didn't really need a solution from him. He gave a solution. He was like, just, quit and we'll find you a better job. But that's not really what she wanted. She just wanted him to follow her on this journey of her experience and just be supportive and have her back. So he actually did the solution that she wanted just by doing that alone. And that was enough for her to feel like, I can rely on this person to call him when I'm upset, and he's going to listen to what I have to say and make me feel heard, and that's all I need. He'll even offer a solution, but it may not be right, and that's fine. I don't need that. So that was a good example. I'll give you one more good example, same series, where this time the guy is upset and the girl does this very smoothly with him. So I'll share that.
Is there a time limit? You got somewhere to be?
No.
Look on the bright side. If I stand here long enough, you might make 2 sales in one day.
You need time. I'll be outside.
I can't do this. I just snapped at Snow White.
Jack.
This sucks. Nicholas had copious notes about literally everything else. Detailed instructions for all of his memorial dinners, his wakes, his celebratory escape room. He picked the flowers for his funeral, made seating charts, wrote out the lineup for his tribute concert in Central Park. Still haven't heard back from Charlie XCX, by the way. He picked the linens, the silverware, the dress code, steampunk, in case you need to go shopping. Literally, not one thing off the list, except under coffin, he wrote TBD. A TBD coffin.
You need to take a breath.
And now suddenly everyone just has to know immediately, right this second, who's gonna take his spot.
Well, it is a business.
I don't give a fuck. He's not dead yet.
Mhm.
I'm sorry.
What can I do to help?
You could wake up Nicholas.
How about you send a picture of the coffins and I'll pick one?
Really? That would be. This is. Thank you.
Hey, I have an idea. When all of this is over, why don't you come to Paris? Stay with me for a while.
Stay with you. In your apartment?
I'll even loan you some hangers.
Feeling sorry for me?
Yes. And I miss you. A little. Oh, the bronze one against the wall is perfect.
Yeah. Yeah. Nice. That one's really.
Here's the mock-up of next week's.
So again, that was a very, very smooth navigating. When he's like, not bottling, he's very upset. There's a lot going on. Like the person he admires his whole life is like that runs everything is, in a coma and about to die, and he has to pick out a funeral coffin. And, he has an outburst and, he apologizes, which is good for like swearing and yelling a little bit. But, she didn't fixate on that. And when she ran out of options on how to help him besides listen, she said, "What can I do to help?" And that's a really efficient way. Like if they're not providing you a solution of what can make them feel more loved in that moment, just directly ask them. And, he said, bring Nicholas back. So he didn't give like a tangible solution. He was like, bring the person that's dying back to life. Like that's not something she can do. But, she didn't say, I can't do that and make him feel bad for saying how he felt. But she like problem solves. She's like, he's in a coffin place. He needs to pick a coffin. Like this guy details everything. This is the one thing that he didn't detail. I can help him find a coffin. And then she did that. And then she used a bit of humor to like bring him around, distract him a bit with say coming to Paris, saying, "You feel sorry for me," and owning it and being like, "Yes," just to lighten the mood. She did a lot of little things to make him feel better. And if you notice him at the beginning of the video, he's so aggravated and angry. And by the end of the call, he's so calm and feels closer to this woman at the end of it because she did so many things right. And you really have to know someone or have really good skills to do what they just did in a short period of time. Obviously, it's a movie, it's a TV show, but like this was a really good example of how if you know someone really well and you can efficiently show love, you can navigate this situation. Most people would have made him feel bad, attacked him for being angry, being like, "You're being unreasonable. I don't know how to help you." A lot of things that would have made him shut down and feel further away from that girl. But this girl very cleverly navigated where he felt calm at the end and she solved his problem. And this one needed solving, It really did help him that she picked out a coffin and it was the right one that took that off his mind for that moment. So again, I don't expect us to be able to leave this meeting today being like, we know how to do all this, but at least the seed has been planted that there are a lot of intentional things we can do and practice our skills at getting better at having healthy relationships and detecting when people are treating us well, which was, for example, the last two examples, and when you are treating the other person well. And the first two examples in the video where they are not treating each other well and what that looks like so that you can grow together. So the key is when you find people in your life that you think are potentials for high quality, you want to see, can you guys build on your relationship and make it healthier and learn from each other and you'll both make mistakes? Or like do one or both of you shut down and be like, this is my bandwidth, I can't do more, or like this is how I am, deal with it, all of those things, or like turning it on you, being like, you shouldn't be upset about this. Like you have every right to feel however you feel about anything that comes up. We can't control our feelings, we can't control our thoughts. The only thing we can control are our actions. And so you want to get better at treating other people with love efficiently and receiving the same in return. That's a high quality person. if they are not doing that for you or you're not doing that for someone else, that's signs of like a low quality person with their behavior. So surround yourself with as many people as social creatures, your village of as many high quality people, so that you can start living your life to, you know, higher and higher levels. And there's so much room to grow. And even though I know all this stuff and I'm practicing it and I'm happily married, like there's so many levels I know that my relationship can be better with not only my husband, but everyone around us. So you don't just reach this. It's a lifelong journey, like self-improvement, like everything else, that we can improve ourselves, but we can also improve our relationships. So thank you so much for listening and being here. I appreciate you. Thank you for staying 20 minutes over. It means a lot, and participating. Thank you.
Thank you, Kimiya. Thank you so much. And thank you everyone for joining. I know we're quite over time, but if anyone has any questions, we can answer them. If not, oh yes, go ahead. Okay. If not, thank you very much. This session has been recorded and it will be emailed out along with the recordings of the first 2 sessions. So feel free to visit back, rewatch, practice your skills, and refine your relationships. Thank you so much. And this officially concludes our Secure Connections series.